Hi everyone and welcome to the webinar. Last week we had the first part of the full webinar series just on the tree of health, and we had Drs. Benjamin Beckler and Lyle Wilson on the webinar introducing the concept of the tree of health. Today we are going to give a quick refresher about what the tree of health concept is and how it works and how it can help you to achieve optimal wellness. And tonight, it's our pleasure to have a very special guest, Dr. Lyle Wilson, that is formulator of Restore Silver and Restore Vital. He has graduate degrees, certificates in Oriental medicine, and doctorate in traditional naturopathy. So it's my pleasure introducing Dr. Lyle to know more about these products, Restore Silver and Restore Vital.
Hi everyone, I'm really delighted to be back with you this week. It's exciting to be here. We began a good journey together last week with the Tree of Health product group, and we'll expand on that just a little bit, and then we'll dive into some great detail about Restore Silver and Restore Vital. So let's begin by just a quick review about this concept that we're calling NHT Tree of Health. It's an idea that's based in the root and branch theory of traditional Chinese medicine, and it tells us that we can have daily experiences in many branches of our body, our skin or our muscles or our digestive tract, that might lead us to believe that we need to address three different things in three different ways. But if we step back a moment and look at the larger picture, we really can approach our health by nourishing the tree of our body at the root level, making sure that our cells are all working optimally. And when we do that, we can improve the health of all of our branches at the same time. So working from the roots to have the benefit travel throughout all of our systems, and so that we're able to really experience optimal health. Next slide, please. So there are two great products in our Restore line, both Silver and Vital, and we're going to spend some time with each so that you'll have a better understanding of how best to use them to optimize your health. And I know you had the opportunity to have a product-specific webinar with Dr. Ben last week to learn more about omega-3s, and I know that you're going to get to hear him speak again about Stem Renew next week. These are the other two phenomenal products in NHT's Tree of Health product line in that package. And at the end of our time together this evening, I'll talk about how we can use them together for even greater benefit. Next slide, please. So I'll focus first on Restore Silver, and we'll talk about the science behind both and how that works to improve cellular health and function. Next. So we created Restore Silver to support the cellular regulation of calcium in all systems of the body. And because that process is pretty easily described in muscles, I want to begin there. Next slide. So let's talk about the three different types of muscles that we have in our bodies. The first is skeletal muscle, and those are muscles that span from bone to bone across our joints, and they're the muscles that contract and relax to help us perform work and play. Next slide when you're ready. And then there are our smooth muscles. These are involuntary muscles, meaning that they're controlled automatically by parts of our brain that we don't consciously regulate. And these muscles line our digestive tract and our blood vessels and our hollow organs like our bladders. Next slide. And the third type of muscle in our bodies is cardiac muscle, our heart muscle. And our hearts are made of a specialized type of muscle tissue that allows it to work day in and day out, every minute throughout our lives. And if we're beating an average of 70 times a minute over a lifespan of 85 years, our hearts are going to beat over 3 billion times without ever getting to take a day off from work. The only rest our hearts ever get is in that short space between contractions. Now, one thing that these three types of muscle tissue have in common is that they use the powerful ionic charge of calcium to trigger their functions. This is also true for every other kind of cell, regardless of type in our bodies. So let's talk about how Restore Silver works and how this calcium regulation really begins to have an impact on our health, so that we can understand how using supplements can improve the way our bodies work. So regardless of the tissue type, a nervous system signal triggers the release of lots and lots of calcium ions inside the cells and also into the cells from outside. And that causes work to be produced. When enough work has been produced, a muscle contraction or a heartbeat or the production and release of a hormone, that signal from the nervous system stops, and a critically important enzyme, calcium ATPase, begins moving calcium ions. And this calcium ATPase enzyme serves as an ion pump that controls the level of calcium ions inside the cells. The enzyme uses the energy from the ATP molecule to move calcium ions where they need to be inside the cells, and also to take excess calcium out of the cells. Now, this regulation is critical to cell health and function, because when levels of calcium inside and outside the cell are ideal, then we're able to achieve optimal vitality. Next slide. So this calcium ATPase is critical to really all of our key bodily functions, and consequently very important to our overall health. And as we age, our levels of this essential enzyme decline in our body. We begin producing less, so that by the time we're 50 years old, we're only producing about half of the amount of calcium ATPase that we were producing when we were 25. Now, a good way to think about this is to pause for a moment with me and think about a typical drive in your city and how the flow of traffic is regulated with traffic signals, red and green and yellow lights. Now, I want you to imagine that half of those traffic signals along your route just stopped working. Ultimately, you're still going to be able to get to your destination, but it's going to take a lot longer to make the same trip, and there will likely be some automobile wrecks along the way. Now, I want you to think of this calcium ATPase enzyme as the traffic signals in your body. When we have plenty of traffic signals regulating the calcium where it needs to go and helping it get there, then we have great traffic flow. We have great movement, and all of the systems are working well. But when we have less fewer numbers of those enzymes than is optimal, we begin to experience diminished health. This reduced levels of calcium ATPase can lead to ailments such as trouble sleeping and increased muscle fatigue and an overactive bladder and other discomforts. So once we realized this, we set about to find a botanically based ingredient that could help the body produce more levels, more optimal levels, higher levels of this critically important enzyme. Next slide, please. So we researched over 100 different plant extracts before we decided on the one extract to use as the central ingredient in a formulation to support health. And for our application, we found that a specific extract of the jasmine flower at a certain level, combined with all of the other extracted ingredients from that jasmine flower, possesses the remarkable ability to stimulate production of calcium ATPase. And we also, in all of that research, were able to determine that it formulates really well with additional ingredients. Next slide, please. So to complement that methyl jasmonate, that specific ingredient from the jasmine flower, we added 2 more important ingredients to round out the chemistry and the systemic support that this formulation can give to our bodies. Those aminos are L-arginine, which plays an important role in immune function and in circulation. I know you're very familiar with the improvements to circulation that can be had with L-arginine because of the Allura product. And then taurine is the other key acid that we added because it supports cardiovascular function, it supports improved calcium signaling throughout the body, it improves bone function, and it improves bone and muscle strength. So once we had that formulation, we began to do all of the necessary research and clinical work to make sure that we were getting the benefits that we knew from laboratory tests that we would. And what was born out of that formulation is the great product Restore Silver. So let's begin talking about the kinds of benefit that you can experience when using Restore Silver regularly. First, let's talk about support of the bladder function and control. Our bladders have a couple of really important smooth muscles, as we talked about in the different muscle types, that line the bladder itself and also control the outlet for the bladder. And these smooth muscle functions are responsible for, smooth muscles are responsible for retaining the fluid until it's time to go to the restroom, and then contracting to evacuate fluid when it's an appropriate time to do that. And our bladder control aspect of the benefits of this product are so wonderful that we were able to get some patent protection for this research, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. It also, taking Restore Silver regularly also supports joint and tissue comfort by helping the immune system with its inflammation. So if we can have lower overall inflammation in our tissues, then we're obviously going to be more comfortable or be able to move more fluidly. Our joints are going to be able to work better, and we can experience that with using Restore Silver. Next slide, please. Calcium ATPase plays a key role in the pineal gland in sleep regulation. The pineal gland is a tiny, almost the size of a grain of rice gland right in the middle of our brain that helps produce the important sleep regulatory hormone called melatonin. And calcium ATPase plays a critical role in helping that production of melatonin and therefore helping us to be able to sleep more deeply and wake more rested and ready to embrace life. Now, I want to say something that is very important about sleep, especially right now. What we are experiencing is a big upsurge in the amount of screen time that we're all having right now. We're spending more time on the computer, more time on our phones and our pads because we're doing more work utilizing those great tools. That's wonderful. We couldn't have imagined doing all of the things that we're able to do just not that many years ago. One downside of the use of this technology is that these screens emit a light in the blue color spectrum that our bodies are interpreting as a stimulation that it's time to wake up and get engaged with your day. So the photoreceptors in the back of our eyes are sending signals and to our brain, triggering the activation of certain combinations of hormones, and this is the wake sleep cycle that helps us to engage with life. But if we're using this technology later and later into the night, what we're doing is continuing to stimulate our bodies and continuing to tell them that it's daytime, and so don't produce any melatonin to begin the process of allowing us to settle down and change gears and begin the sleep cycle that allows us to repair and restore. So I want to encourage you to develop a practice. This is challenging but important. Develop a practice of setting that phone down, stepping away from the computer and the iPad at 2 hours before you go to bed at night. Hard to do. I find it difficult to do. Janice and I are making a pact to set the phones down outside of our bedroom and not even bring them in to try to see if that'll work. And it does make a huge difference in our health, in our sleep, and therefore our health. So you can get great benefit from using Restore Silver, but we need to help things along by timely reduction of that interaction with blue light. The other key benefit that I want to talk about with Restore Silver is the benefit to our muscles. When our muscles, regardless of the type, are allowed to relax more completely between contractions, which is what the calcium ATPase does, gathers those calcium ions out, allows the muscle to relax between contractions. It has a beneficial effect on our improved strength, improved endurance, shorter recovery times after exercise, so that we're able to engage in activities with more strength, more vigor, and we're able to get back to something with shorter amounts of rest, so that we can be more fully engaged with life. Next slide, please. So how do we use this great product? Restore Silver has a really pleasant and sweet flavor profile, and you can add it to cold or warm water or any juice, except for orange juice. And I want to talk about that. I get this question a fair bit. There's an enzyme that is specific to orange juice that competes for the receptor site that the body uses to take the methyl jasmonate in and absorb it in the system. So if you drink orange juice and then take your Restore Silver, the orange juice grabs the receptor site, so we don't get as good absorption of the key ingredients for the Restore Silver. So I like orange juice as much as the next person. I just will encourage you to separate the time between consuming orange juice and taking Restore Silver or Vital by 1 hour. And if you give yourself that hour gap, then you can take both just fine, and the absorption will be optimal. You don't need to worry about taking it with or without food. It's just as efficient and effective either way. And to remind me, because I'm a creature of habit, I just put my Restore bottles right in my bathroom, right underneath my toothbrush, because I know I'm going to be brushing my teeth first thing in the morning and last thing at night, and that seeing those bottles right there reminds me that I need to take my doses. And I take 1 to 2 droppers full of, and we'll get to this in a minute, but I'll sneak peek right now, of Restore Vital in the morning, and then 1 to 2 droppers full of Restore Silver at night. Beautiful way to use both of these products. Now, I've gotten a question from time to time about the fact that you can experience some different flavors. Sometimes that Restore Silver will taste just a little bit different than the last bottle that you had, and that really has to do with the fact that these jasmine plants are growing in different temperature conditions depending on what time of year it is, and so different moisture, different heat and cool, the variables in the weather will cause the methyl jasmonate production level to be a little bit different. Now we standardize for potency, but the flavor profile is going to be different from batch to batch because it's a plant, and it's experiencing different conditions in nature as it's growing. Okay, next slide, please. So after some time with Restore Silver on the market, several members came to us and said, you know, we love how we feel when we're using Restore Silver, but we've got kids in school cramming for tests and studying really hard, and we're working really hard, going and working hard and playing hard all the time, and we wonder if you could do anything that might help us with the formulation to support even better a more active lifestyle with higher energy demands. So next slide, please. We went back to the lab and we began searching for robust ingredients to help address these needs to revitalize and re-energize ourselves in a powerful and safe way. And that's when Restore Vital was born. So those key ingredients from Restore Silver, we pulled right over into the formulation for Restore Vital because we already now not only had the clinical understanding of how well it worked, we also had the feedback from lots and lots of people over a few year period to know that this was really great. So we didn't want to do anything that would lower the efficacy. So we kept those key ingredients of the methyl jasmonate, the L-arginine, and taurine from the original formula. And then we began looking at what we could add to this tremendous foundation to begin supporting those new requirements for greater vitality, greater energy. Next slide, please. So we went back to the lab. We had a product that before we were doing our initial It also stimulated the production of calcium ATPase, and that's ginger. Um, um, Ginger actually kicks in to stimulate more calcium ATPase production when we're more active. So it gives us a 1-2 punch. Methyl jasmonate and ginger, when we're more active, both help us produce more of the important calcium ATPase enzyme. In addition, it has great antioxidant properties that support the immune system and support our digestive tract, both of which can suffer with a more active lifestyle. We have more demands on the immune system when we're engaged with life more aggressively, and we also, frankly, often eat less well when we're on the go, and so. This gives us some important additional support for those things. The next ingredient that we added is a specialized sugar molecule called D-ribose that helps provide instant energy to the cells, and it also supports improved mitochondrial function, which is what's producing these ATP molecules that we're using with the calcium ATPase to move that calcium where it needs to go. And of course, ATP is used in lots and lots of functions. So supporting that just gives us greater overall vitality, as well as immediate support when we really need to have a surge of energy in the short term. It also, D-ribose, supports important genetic expression. That's that ribose is in the longer name for DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. So that crystalline structure of that sugar component in the ribose is part of our DNA. And finally, we added green tea extract, a specific green tea extract called EGCG, that supports improved focus and greater mental clarity, and also provides additional powerful support to our immune system. So, with the base of our original formulation of Restore Silver and these added ingredients, we can really enjoy some phenomenal additional benefits. So let's move to the next slide and talk about it. So, of course, the things that we talked about with Restore Silver with respect to greater muscle strength and endurance are all there. And the added bonus is that with the D-ribose, with the ability to zero in and be more focused, we have greater energy, greater ability to perform athletically, whether that is just as a playful pastime, or if you're really focused on being an elite level athlete. We have elite level athletes using these products to great benefit because of all that you can experience from there. Also, phenomenal mental support. Working professionals, people who are studying, regardless of age, really get great benefit from the greater mental clarity and focus that can be had by regular use of the Restore Vital. So it can really help you meet your needs and goals for this greater active lifestyle. And I get the question, well, I'm not really all that active all the time. I probably don't need to use that, do I? Or is there a benefit from me using it? And the answer is, at any given time that you experience stress during the day, if you have to be more engaged, even if it's just for a portion of the day, the Vital can really give you that additional support that you're looking for. One more slide, please. We really, really take this product to support a busy and active lifestyle, and it's going to give you those benefits, and you can use it in conjunction with Restore Silver at night, and it just makes for a beautiful combination. We can use the Restore Vital in the same way that we use Restore Silver. It has a much spicier flavor profile. It can also be added to anything that you want to. The same caveat applies for the orange juice. I really use both of these directly into my mouth, but you can dilute them in a little bit of water or something else. Especially the Vital can be pretty perky and spicy for some people in the morning. So it's fine to mix it with something. It works just beautifully. And again, I use the Vital in the morning and the Silver at night. So I mentioned earlier that our research and the synthesis of all of the work that we did was recognized by both the U.S. and Chinese patent offices to be so unique for the application of jasmines and jasmonates to improve bladder function for both men and women. That they issued patent protection to us for the work, and this allowed us to fold all of our other work into the protection of these patents. So Restore Silver and Vital are both protected under the patents, and these products continue to be the only supplement formulations that are created specifically to help the body to produce more of this critically important enzyme, calcium ATPase. And the Restore products continue and will always continue to only be available through NHT Global to members and the folks that they're wanting to help take care of. Next slide, please. So I want to talk about synergy. Each of the 4 products in the Tree of Health package are standalone phenomenal products, Omega-3, Stem Renew, and Restore Silver and Vital. And they each work to improve a different aspect of cellular health. So you're going to get great benefit from using any one of them. It's gonna improve your health and well-being. But using all 3 of them so that we're working on all aspects of that root level health at the same time has a synergistic effect that's even greater than using each of them individually. So when our root system, our cells, are working optimally because we're supporting each of these 3 different aspects of cellular health with these products as a package, it means our bodies can not only take advantage of that synergy of the improvement to cellular health, but that means that can also make the best possible use of all of the other great NHT products that you're using to absorb them even better, to put them to work even more efficiently and effectively, so you just get greater benefit out of everything that you're using because your cells are working so beautifully. And the beauty of that radiant good health will shine throughout all of the branches in our Tree of Health. I want to close. We're about out of time here, and I want to close by reiterating something that I said earlier, because it's just especially important right now. Using the Tree of Health package as your empowered health foundation helps your body be strong and resilient in particularly challenging times. And because they're all helping all of your cells to function more optimally, they really help the other great NHT products that you're taking to specifically support your immune system, like triotine and cordyceps and essential probiotics and noni, to work even better, to support you even better, to be absorbed more efficiently, and to give you better and better health. So I want to thank you for sharing your time with me this evening.